Thank you all for listening and watching my videos. Please subscribe and like my channel Master Coolitz. Hoping that you will not skip my ads, it's a big help for me by not skipping it. Thank you so much. Dragon Shadow. The Rise.
A powerful blow struck Demon Wolf's back, accompanied by a sickening crack. In that instant, its spine shattered under the force of the punch. The Demon Wolf's agonized screech pierced the sky. With jaws spread wide, it suddenly clamped down on the giant ape's waist. Blood sprayed in all directions. Feeling the threat, anger flashed in the blue-masked giant ape's eyes. It pounded its chest with both hands, releasing a surge of potent vital energy. The energy concentrated in its arms instantly amplified its strength. Its massive palms enveloped the Demon Wolf, razor-sharp nails piercing deep into flesh. With a brutal wrench, the giant ape tore away chunks of the wolf demon's flesh. The blood carried an unusual scent, transforming into a crimson mist as it spread. Even from a distance, Zane felt a sympathetic pain in his chest, witnessing the brutality.
This life or death struggle between intermediate level demonic beasts is truly terrifying. Billy, in your prime, were you as formidable as these creatures?
You underestimate the three-tailed spirit fox tribe, Master. Even as a first-stage intermediate level, let alone at my peak, I could vanquish them with a mere flick of my finger. Alas, my current injuries leave me powerless.
A single finger flick could crush such beings? Zane was taken aback, unsure if Billy was being truthful or exaggerating. The wolf demon's chest and abdomen swelled visibly. It drew a deep breath, concentrating spirit light in its mouth and throat. A torrent of flames erupted skyward, striking the giant ape's waist and dispersing its fearsome energy. The impact site blackened, flesh charred and mutilated. The giant ape and wolf demon continued their ferocious battle, the earth trembling beneath them. Their clash exuded an oppressive aura, reminiscent of ancient demons locked in combat. The very air seemed on the verge of shattering. In the next 5 minutes, the fight intensified further, both combatants sustaining grievous wounds. The giant ape's body was charred black, emitting an acrid burnt odor. The demon wolf fared even worse, its back a bloody mess with exposed bone visible through torn flesh. A fireball struck the giant ape's face, forcing it back dozens of meters. This assault seemed to ignite its fury. Though its breath had weakened considerably, the ape's strength surged in a final burst. With a mighty effort, it tore the wolf demon in half. Both massive bodies crashed to the earth, blood flowing like rivers from their remains.
As expected, the giant ape proved marginally stronger. The gap between intermediate level practitioners is truly vast.
Zane observed the giant ape, its life force now greatly diminished. His gaze then fell upon the wolf demon's mangled corpse, eliciting a heavy sigh. Suddenly, the colossal ape turned its head. Its eyes gleamed with intelligence as it fixed its gaze on Zane, who stood atop a distant tree trunk. A massive clawed hand lashed out towards Zane with frightening speed.
3-star step, second movement.
Zane evaded the strike with fluid grace, alighting on an adjacent tree.
So, you've detected my presence.
The giant ape exhaled forcefully through its nostrils, sharp fangs grinding audibly. With the sweep of its arms, it conjured layers of wind in mere seconds. Despite its fierce movements, the ape's massive form appeared somewhat ungainly compared to Zane's agility. Moreover, its grave injuries further diminished its threat. Wielding the Dragon Blood sword, Zane unleashed a brilliant surge of sword energy aimed at his opponent's abdomen. Blood and flesh flew as agonized roars filled the air. Their exchange lasted nearly half an hour, with Zane's attacks growing bolder and more precise, gradually wearing down the colossal ape. The intensity of their combat reached roughly 2/3 of the earlier battle's peak.
Dust-making strike, Separation of vital energy.
The sword cleaved through the colossal ape's body, splitting it in two and exposing its skeletal structure. The massive creature crashed to the ground, its life force rapidly ebbing away. With a mixture of relief and exhilaration, Zane descended to the forest floor. This was a third-stage, intermediate-level demonic beast. Its enormous form contained an abundance of precious blood essence. He swiftly approached the wolf demon's remains, wielding his dragon blood sword to extract its demon core and absorb its blood essence. He then repeated the process with the fallen ape.
Incredible. Every part of a third stage demonic beast is truly valuable. This claw alone could fetch at least 5,000 crystals. In this eye, would 8,000 crystals be too ambitious? Ha! I'm about to become quite wealthy.
Zane meticulously harvested most of the materials from the ape's corpse. The damaged wolf demon's remains were allocated to Elemental Panther and Billy, for whom intermediate-level demonic beasts served as potent sources of nourishment. Over the next 3 days, Elemental Panther evolved to the 5th stage of Foundation level, while Billy advanced to the 7th. Their powers increased dramatically. At last, the beast blood pool was replenished, presenting the opportunity to attempt breaking through to the intermediate level. Within the dragon prison, Zane approached the edge of the beast blood pool's altar. He placed a handful of crystals into the designated groove, causing the pool to illuminate instantly. Bubbles surged from the pool's depths, the liquid boiling and overflowing its confines. The wisdom chamber filled with the pungent aroma of blood. Zane cautiously extended his foot, submerging the lower half of his body in the pool. Activated by the altar's formation, Zane began absorbing the blood energy from the beast blood pool. His body assimilated the power rapidly, like a newborn drawing sustenance. Imperceptibly, his bones and flesh began to evolve. Within his elixir field, 3 streams of vital meridian coalesced, forming a swirling vortex in midair. Boom, boom, boom! Muffled thunder emanated from the dark sky. Thunder as streaks of lightning struck and merged with the vortex. Fierce winds, roaring thunder, and crackling lightning raged in all directions, focusing intensely on Zane's elixir field. As time passed, the vortex compressed into a yellow, bean-sized object. It grew visibly, its surface crackling with lightning as it spun. Dark silver runes materialized on its surface, gradually dyeing the entire essence pill a deep, lustrous shade of dark silver. A wave of energy pulsed from Zane's body, his aura now 10 times more potent than before. As his eyes opened, bolts of lightning shot forth, his presence as imposing as a mountain.
At last, I've broken through to the intermediate level. The wait and effort were entirely worth it.
His eyes gleamed with excitement. Surveying his surroundings, he realized only 1/5 of the beast's blood had been consumed. Without hesitation, he resumed strengthening his newfound realm. 3 more days elapsed before Zane emerged in the dragon prison. The 5 Spirit sect had gained another formidable martial artist. Zane stood at the edge of the fiery mountains, his chest swelling with anticipation. The most significant distinction between intermediate and foundation levels wasn't mere strength, but the ability to move through the air. By manipulating his internal vital energy, Zane could now levitate. Empowered by his newfound abilities, Zane's confidence soared. He felt prepared to confront any challenge the world might present, his journey as a cultivator reaching new heights.
This is what it feels like to fly in the void. This feels awesome.
Zane Martel exclaimed with joy, his voice carrying the thrill of his newfound experience. He was a little clumsy at first, his body floating up and down as he familiarized himself with the sensation of flying in the void as quickly as he could. After more than half a day, he finally grasped the trick and could fly freely. With determination pulsing through him, he immediately rushed back to the 5 Spirit sect. The flying speed of an intermediate level practitioner was incomparable to that of a wind-riding boat. The wild wind whistled across Zane Martel's cheeks as he soared through the air. It only took him 5 days to reach the Five Spirit sect. Instead of returning to his own residence, he made a beeline for the home of Elora. A silver light fell from the sky, stunning the people in the courtyard. At that moment, Patrick and Elora were both in the courtyard. The person who had descended from the sky, emitting the aura of a first-level practitioner of the intermediate level, was actually Zane Martel. What a shocking revelation.
Zane Martel, you broke through to the intermediate level?
Patrick's voice trembled with bewilderment. Lizzie was equally shocked.
Zane Martel, did you really break through?
Lizzie's cherry-red lips parted slightly, her beautiful eyes filled with disbelief. They remembered how, when Zane Martel first joined, he was only in the foundation level, and even Patrick was stronger than him. However, in less than a year, not only had he surpassed them both, he had even broken through to the intermediate level. This was unreal.
Yes, that's why I'm here, Elora.
Zane Martel smiled faintly as he walked forward and stopped in front of Elora. Hearing this, her beautiful eyes widened in shock. A mist rose in her eyes, and her vision turned a little blurry.
Are you sure about doing that?
Her voice trembled with uncertainty, referring to Zane Martel's intention to transfer his cultivation level into her body to help her remove the purple energy poison.
Of course, I've thought it through. It's just the intermediate level. It's no big deal.
He reassured her with a confident smile.
Thank you.
Warmth enveloped Elora's heart as gratitude flooded through her. When Patrick realized what they were talking about, he couldn't help but sigh. He walked over, putting his arm around Zane Martel's shoulder.
Zane Martel, it looks like my sister is right about you. Thank you for this.
Elora and Zane Martel then entered a room, leaving John alone outside the door. He didn't allow anyone to disturb them. In order to remove the poison from her purple energy spiritual body, someone had to voluntarily transfer their intermediate level cultivation to her. At this moment, Elora was already at the 9th level of the foundation. Once she accepted Zane Martel's level of training, she would definitely ascend to the intermediate level.
I'm sorry. I didn't tell you in advance, but you can't peek? No!
Her voice was filled with embarrassment as she stammered out an apology. When this was done, Zane Martel may fall back to the foundation level. They were naked with their backs against each other. Elora's soft body, emitting a feminine fragrance, pressed skin to skin against Zane Martel's back, sending waves of warmth through him. The atmosphere was suddenly filled with sexual tension, so quiet that even the sound of their breathing could be heard. Elora's cheeks turned crimson as she felt hot all over, covering her chest with one hand to calm her wildly beating heart. Zane Martel swallowed a mouthful of saliva, feeling a wild, unstoppable force pulling him in all directions.
God, why didn't she tell me that we had to be in the nude beforehand? I would have cleaned myself up better before coming over. Elora's body smells so good. It's as if she bathed in milk. How comforting.
He thought to himself. The room was filled with awkward silence, not a word exchanged between the two. Elora finally broke the silence first, stammering shamefully. Zane Martel couldn't help but chuckle.
What are you laughing at?
Elora's face, smooth as an egg, turned even redder as a frown appeared on her forehead. Waves of heat rose from the top of his head, and he gritted his teeth.
No, I didn't even think about doing that.
He teased. This just made Elora's face a brighter shade of red. Finally, she pouted and voiced out a threat.
You're not allowed to laugh. Do you hear me? Don't even think about that.
Think about what? I'm only thinking about how to give you the cultivation. Is that wrong?
You,
She knew she was no match for Zane Martel in a tongue battle. In the end, she simply shut her mouth and said nothing. After a while, Zane Martel calmed himself down and began to mobilize vital energy in his body according to what she had told him before. In his energy center, a dark silver essence pill floated in the air, spinning nonstop. A milky white vital energy swirled around it. Through the meridians, his vital energy was finally transferred to his back, connecting with the smooth and warm back of Elora before finally injecting into it. Elora frowned slightly as if her body was rejecting this power. The purple energy poison in her, which had already spread all over her body, began to be pulled out. The momentum of wind and thunder rose from their bodies, continuously buzzing. After a long while, the aura of Zane Martel's body began to swiftly wither at a speed visible to the naked eye. What he got in return was the rising concentration of Elora's aura. The 9th level, foundation level, the middle, the later, and the peak, full circle, her body suddenly turned into a trembling mess. She and Zane Martel's entire upper bodies were drenched in sweat. A mysterious purple power began to appear in Elora's energy center, instantly devouring all toxins in her body. A purple light burst out from her body. The entire courtyard, Azure Dragon Academy, 5 Spirit Sect, and even the Titan Academy could see a dazzling purple light column rising into the sky from Elora's courtyard. As he lay in bed, Zane Martel's aura had already fallen to the 9th level of the foundation level. Fortunately, the essence pill was still in his energy center. It was just a matter of time before he could regain his cultivation.
What is this?
He muttered, shocked to find that the bedding around him and even his body were wrapped in layers of purple crystals. The crystals had high transparency and looked very beautiful. They were hard and bore a hexagonal shape. As he marveled at the sight, a thought struck him and he quickly turned around. Before him, Elora had broken through to the intermediate level. Everything below her neck was a scene to behold. Her figure had curves in all the right places, leaving Zane Martel momentarily speechless. Normally, Zane Martel would definitely not hesitate to admire this, but Elora seemed to have fallen into a coma.
Elora, what's wrong? You're scaring me. Wake up.
He exclaimed, patting her face with growing concern. Suddenly, a Madame Tina with gray hair, appearing to be in her 50s, broke into the room. Seeing a half-nude Zane Martel hugging the similarly bare body of Elora, she immediately flew into a fit of rage.
You brat! What the hell do you think you're doing?
She shouted, her voice filled with fury and anger. An aura filled with suppression and terror surrounded her body. The pressure within the room distorted space and compressed all furniture into powdered particles.
Who is this person with such terrifying cultivation? She's definitely not from the intermediate level. Could she be from the advanced level? Or is she from a higher level?
Zane Martel's pupils dilated and his heart was pounding with excitement.
You pervert! How dare you do this with a woman? I'll kill you right now!
Even though she seemed emaciated, she sent him a terribly heavy sigh. The gleam looked like it was about to swallow Zane Martel. However, he had nowhere to run under absolute suppression.
The feeling I get from this person is similar to how I feel around the Black Abyss sword. The second move of the 3-star step technique. Iron body. Open. Sword shield. Dust-breaking strike. Separation of vital energy.
Zane Martel used all the powerful techniques he knew as he dodged one attack after another. All that was left for him to use was the divine bow. Sword rays and shadows appeared, along with majestic forces and fist shadows. Before long, all was defeated in an instant. Fortunately, with the help of his spiritual sight, he found a loophole to hide, but as the ray touched the edge, his body was flown backward. He smashed into a wall, causing a huge crack in it as he felt his limbs break. He spat blood, his arms and limbs all painted crimson.
Who is this person?
Zane Martel was shocked and furious as the opponent appeared out of nowhere and attacked him without a word. There must have been a misunderstanding. Her strength was terrifying.
You're not dead yet? Lucky man. Let me give you another slap.
The woman gave him another slap as she spoke. A few figures swiftly appeared before Zane Martel, just as he thought he was going to meet his maker. It was Xavier and Thomas. Fortunately, Zane Martel had already covered the fainted Elora with a blanket.
Stop, Madame Tina.
Thomas put a stop to Madame Tina's action.
Thomas? What are you doing? This pervert caused harm to a female disciple. He deserves to be killed. Get out of the way.
Madame Tina frowned, not showing any signs that she would be giving in. Zane Martell gave a bitter smile. It was indeed a misunderstanding. Thomas was extremely respectful towards Madame Tina, which meant that she was no ordinary person. He might be an expert of the Titan Academy, Thomas began explaining.
Zane Martell was not harming the female disciple. He was instead helping her remove the purple energy poison in her body. Though the method is a little unorthodox, but that's the truth. You can't kill him.
Removing the purple energy poison?
Madame Tina finally understood the situation after glancing over at Zane Martell's body and seeing purple crystals on him.
I see. I was wondering who could let out such strong energy fluctuations. As it turns out, the Purple Pole spiritual body has awakened.
Purple Pole, spiritual body.
It's the Purple Pole spiritual body?
Thomas and Xavier were stunned, but were also relieved to see that Elora was lying peacefully on the bed. The so-called Purple Pole spiritual body could only be awakened when the purple energy poison was removed by a small number of purple energy spiritual bodies. There are very few of them, so 10,000 purple energy spiritual bodies might not even be able to produce a Purple Pole spiritual body. Therefore, those awakened by it would obtain talent and skills that were at least 8 stars and above. It was absolutely impossible for the 4 major cultivation academies to own it. Even Zane Martell listened to this in disbelief.
In that case, I'll exempt you, little pervert, from the death penalty. But it's a waste to leave the awakened Purple Pole spiritual body's seedlings here. I'll bring it back and train it well. Are there any objections?
Madame Tina shot the crowd with cold glares, indicating that there was, in fact, no room for objections.
Of course not.
Of course not. Really? Then it is my great pleasure to let my daughter be trained by Madame Tina.
Xavier was full of smiles. How could such an offer be met with a refusal? The Titan Academy was a place where many martial artists gathered. Once Xavier joins the Titan Academy, he would soar. How splendid.
You little pervert, I don't care what relationship you had with Elora, but from now on, she is a member of the Titan Academy. With your talent and strength, you'd better give up. To compensate you, here's a fire-scorching lotus pill.
She tosses a box in front of Zane Martell.
Fire-scorching lotus pill?
Fire-scorching lotus pill?
However, it broke Xavier's heart to see Zane Martell completely silent.
Zane Martell, it is what it is. Why don't you just accept it? This fire-scorching lotus pill is...
I know Elora is gifted. Joining the Titan Academy is the best choice for her. But that doesn't mean I will give up. One day I will become a martial artist that is worthy of being with anyone. I don't need this darned medicinal pill.
As he spoke, he grabbed the medical pill and threw it back at the gifter. The corners of Madame Tina's lips lifted as she gave out a sneer full of disdain and contempt. Acting as if she couldn't be bothered, she grabbed Elora and flew off into the sky. Transforming into an arc of light, they returned to the Titan Academy and had left Xavier, Thomas, Patrick, and Zane Martell. This sudden change left everyone speechless. They had no idea how to comfort the dejected Zane Martell. This was disheartening. He did not hesitate to sacrifice his own cultivation realm to heal Elora. Yet they got separated, and he even got insulted before he could say anything.
Zane Martell, about this?
It's alright, don't worry. My heart for the martial arts will not waver so easily. Plus, this is just the Titan Academy. I will one day be stronger than everyone else. No one can take Elora away then.
As he spoke, he staggered to his feet and walked out of the door. Then he flew away and returned to his residence. Although his level had dropped to the 9th level of the foundation level, he was still able to fly through the air. After Zane Martell left, Xavier sighed and shook his head.
Oh, what a pity. I originally thought Zane Martell and Elora could... I did not expect...
Yes. Once Elora awakens her Purple Pole spiritual body and joins the Titan Academy, she will definitely be one of the strongest in the future.
Zane Martell will be left behind if his strength doesn't improve. I shall take this fire-scorching lotus pill for safekeeping.
It could be of use when the time comes.